Hi friends and readers! This week we have a very fun video. I'm going to be letting my cats choose what I read this week, summer edition. I thought this would be hilarious. My cats are pretty food motivated, so I'm excited to see what options they're going to choose this week. I wanted to do a summer edition because I want to get through some of my summer reads as we move into July. And my cats, while chaotic, I think can pin down a good option for me this week. So let's go through my three cats. My first cat is my firstborn. His name is Louie. He is a brown tabby cat. Louie is a grumpy old boy. He wishes he was still only child. Number 2 on the list is Archie or Archer. Little Archie is a black cat. He's about 2 years old. His birthday was a few months ago. Speaking of him, come on over, buddy. He's our little panther. This is Archie. And then our final cat for this week's roundup is Stevie. Stevie was from a cat cafe, if that tells you anything about her personality. Stevie was named after GMM, if anyone watches Good Mythical Morning. And let's cue the clips of their choices. Alright, you saw it here first. Stevie selected Problematic Summer Romance. This is by Hazelwood. I am so glad she picked this. I actually have this on my shelf already, so I don't have to go buy it or rent it. I went and picked it up a few weeks ago when it came out, just haven't had the chance to read it yet. We'll be reading this starting today probably, and I will catch back up with you later once we get a little bit of the ways into it. It is 10:10 p.m. Today is Sunday, and my little girly whirly Stevie picked my book earlier for this week's video, Problematic Summer Romance. I choose to believe that she didn't just pick this because it was the first chicken cube she saw. I believe she picked this because she knew it was on my TBR for the summer, and she knew that Hazelwood was one of my favorite authors. I have read a good bit of her books. I've read The Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically, Bride, Not in Love, and Deep End. And then she has some anthologies and novellas. I actually have not read any of those, nor have I read the young adult novel Check and Mate. Personally, I enjoyed the STEM romances by Hazelwood. Those are my favorite of hers. I mentioned in a previous video that Not in Love and Deep End weren't my favorites, but I didn't hate them. I actually don't know much about them other than the fact that it is an age gap romance. And then also I heard that someone said this book has characters from Not in Love. We are gonna go ahead and start reading this tonight. My cat Archie actually just pulled the blanket off my lap. So in my mid-year recap, I mentioned how I am just utterly amazed by Allie because she is constantly kicking out books. I feel like every month I turn my head, there's a new release date for another book. I don't know how she does it. I hope that that's the same for this, but if it's not, oh well. Please comment down below if when you are reading a hardback book you keep the dust cover on. I just can't manage. I almost make it a chapter, barely even a chapter into the book, and I have to toss this thing. They're cute, I get it, but they're not functional when you're actually reading the book. Hot take or no? Hello. It is the next day, Monday. I just went on my lunch break for the day. A few thoughts for you. This book is one of the books where it has some cover or chapter art each time. And when I'm reading a physical book, I absolutely love that because I can always see the chapter art from under the previous pages, so I know when I'm approaching the end of the chapter, and it just makes me feel good. I had heard from other reader gals and pals that this book had some overlap with Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. Not in Love came out last year, and this followed Rue and Eli, and Eli's little sister was mentioned in this book because she lived with him for a period of time. And Problematic Summer Romance is about Eli's sister, Maya. I have this copy of Not in Love that I got last year at an independent bookstore, and it came with this fan art and it was signed. And the cute thing about this is, while Not in Love was not necessarily my favorite Ali Hazelwood book, it did mention Tiny the dog, and Tiny the dog makes his appearance in this book. I am flying through it. Ali Hazelwood's writing is just so easy to read. I love the jokes. I think the female main character, Maya, she's very witty. She has quick comebacks. As I said before, Maya is Eli's little sister, but she's not so little anymore. She's out of college. There is a past and present timeline, which normally I don't follow pretty well, but for this one I'm following it all right because the past is only 3 years before. In the setting now, it's a perfect read. I'm so glad my cat Stevie picked this because it's set right now in June, which today is June 30th, so I feel like I'm in the moment for the summer, which if you were maybe traveling abroad, I think this could be a good summer pick for you because it's based in Italy. They are at a destination wedding for her brother Eli and his fiance Rue. This is an age gap romance. Let me know in the comments how you feel about age gap. I might get a few more pages in on my lunch break. It is about 10:15 p.m. and I've just made it to chapter 32, which is page 278. Main character Maya is 23. I am also 23, and so I actually really love Maya outside of the romance and the relationship building. I think that Ali Hazelwood did a great job of writing the thoughts and the conversations and the banter of a 23-year-old. Because I am a 23-year-old. I like the storyline of Eli and Rue from Not in Love more in this book than I did in their book. It was hard for me to describe how I was feeling about the book. There was a little bit of something in the back of my head that was thinking, should you be enjoying this? I hear what everyone's saying. How do we feel about a 15-year age gap when the youngest person in the relationship is over the age of 20 in the timeline between 20 and 23? If I had forgotten about the age gap, I would say that I was eating this book up. Love Ali Hazelwood's writing. I was here for it. It's very summery. I am enjoying it thoroughly. But because it's a romance book, there is a conflict between the two main characters, and that conflict happens to be dangling the age gap. And so that makes me want to not like what's going on because I know that it's a built-in conflict for the sake of the story. But if I forget about it, I actually really like what was happening. We'll see if that changes though in the next 120 pages, because that's when I often tend to lose some star ratings. For some people, I think they might gain some star ratings as they finish up a book, but for me, that's usually when I have to knock it down some. I don't know why, but endings aren't always my favorite to a book. I like the build up, I like the tension, I guess I like the slow burn. So we'll see where I end up with this book, but it's Ali Hazelwood. I'm not going to hate it. It's the next morning. I am working from home. I do work from home Monday through Friday. I am taking a quick break to make a coffee, but I just wanted to pop in and mention something about the book last night. I ended up finishing on page 341, chapter 38. Bookmarked a page because I noticed there is a little cameo mentioned of the two main characters from a different Ali Hazelwood book, Love Theoretically, which I read last last year and gave a 4-star. Thought that was so cute to see Jack Smith and Elsie mentioned in this book. I'm usually not one to catch on to that. It flies by me and I hear it from another creator, booktuber, book talk that they were mentioned in the book. But this time I actually called it myself, so I thought I would mention before I forgot. I just wrapped up Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood. It's about 12:45 p.m. so I have 15 minutes left on my lunch break. I finished it at the beginning of my lunch break and then had to stop before I recapped because my cats will actually murder me if they're not fed. They're a lunchtime snack by 12:05 p.m. I rated Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood a 3-star. I had such a fun time with the setup, the setting, the build-up, the tension, but as much as I was into it at the start, the ending, as predicted, did not wrap up how I would have enjoyed it or liked it a little bit better. If you know what happens in the last chapter of the book, I think that that's what really pegged it down a star or two for me. So I feel comfortable giving it a 3-star. I do say with the 3-star, I would still recommend it. This is probably my first experience with an age gap in a romance book, or an age gap at least this big that they make a big point of the story. I do like how they had some lighthearted jokes and banter back and forth about the age gap that made it a little bit easier to get behind towards the end of the book as things were wrapping up. My girl Stevie chose this for us. Speaking of, she's down here wrestling with her brother Louis, and Louis is actually picking our next book for the week. I think my camera is about to die though. So we are going to go to flashback to Victoria a few days ago and Louis a few days ago to pick our next read. I actually know what that's going to be, but you don't. So let's see what Louis picks. It is my lunch break. It's my lunch break. Today is Wednesday, yeah, July 2nd. I got 36 pages into our next book, which was picked by my grumpy guy, Louis. He picked It's a Love Story by Annabel Monaghan. I did not read much last night because my boyfriend and I had to watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives reunion, so I only read to fall asleep, so I only got about 36 pages of the way in, which is about 13%. I am reading it on my Kindle since my little guy Louis picked it. I did not have the option to go out and get it, and I had actually tried to rent it on Libby for the last few weeks, but it's a several months wait, so decided to just go ahead and get it on Kindle. It's a Love Story follows Jane. Jane is an executive cinematographer and she is trying to get one of the movies she's picked to be greenlit to be filmed. However, they keep telling her it's not commercialized enough. Jane is known as a comedy star back from when she was a little kid. It sort of gives remnants of Jeanette McCurdy and her story, and I feel like I hear people talking about the parallels between our main character Jane and then the Jeanette McCurdy story. She really wants to be taken seriously as a Hollywood studio executive, and she thinks that this is going to be her big break to do so. She is tackling this side by side of a very pompous cinematographer. His name is Dan. Jane is doing a fake it till you make it type scenario where she told them that she could get a famous singer, I believe his name is Jake. Oh, sorry, his name is Jack. She told them that she could get Jack to write a song for the movie and that would essentially help her get it greenlit. But the problem is she hasn't talked to Jack in probably 20 years. She only knew him as a kid before he became famous. So we are going to see if Jane can pull it off and help herself help this movie get greenlit. Looks like we're gonna go up against Dan, even though Dan is also trying to get the movie greenlit as well. I think this is gonna be a very quick read for me. I'm a little nervous. I have only read one Annabel Monaghan story, and it was about August of last year. And I've mentioned before that August was the only month last year that I didn't read. I started A Summer Romance by her. It put me in a book slump. I was starting it on the way to London when I went to go watch the Eras tour, and I couldn't finish it, and then I didn't read for the rest of that month. I really hope that's not going to be the case. I want to give it a second chance. I ended up liking Summer Romance by Annabel. However, it just wasn't the time for me to read it. I was very busy with travel and all. So we are going to try to avoid a book slump here. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If I love it, I love it, but we're gonna try to push through. I have about 15 minutes left on my lunch break now, so I'm gonna go finish eating, and then we're gonna tackle this book tonight. I think it'll be a quick read. Hello again, it's me. Are you surprised? It is 8:08 p.m. on Wednesday. I just got back from my walk where I listened to a little bit of It's a Love Story by Annabel Monaghan. If you ever in my video wonder what this is, it is a floor to ceiling sort of gate for my kitchen because my cats, as mentioned before, are extremely food motivated, and I mean like steal a peanut butter and jelly off your plate and run with it. Has it happened before? Yes, I am speaking from experience. It's 8:09, so I think I'm gonna dive into this book. I am 50% through on page 169. I'm really starting to see why people are drawing the parallels between Jane, our female main character, and the story that's told by Jeanette McCurdy. Jane is a childhood actor who was always the butt of the joke, and that comes up a lot now as Jane is an adult trying to pave her way and keep her job as an exec cinematographer. Is she a cinematographer? Her coworker Dan is from Long Island, even though they are based out of LA. She's gone with Dan to Long Island to try to track down Jack. Jack is someone who sung with her as a childhood actor. And her and Dan have band together because they're expecting him to be at a festival back in Long Island where Dan's from. I wasn't initially enjoying it as much as I would hope. I was getting a little bit worried the first few chapters and I just wasn't picking up on it like I have been some previous books that I've been reading. I'm really starting to enjoy this found family aspect. Jane struggled as a childhood star and still does with not really knowing who she is. And so seeing in this part of the story how she gets to interact with a family that's not her own, I really like that part of the book. There is a precious little baby right in front of me, so I have to stop filming and show you since he's the one who picked this book for me. So far, it's definitely not going to be a 5-star read for me. I think we'll land somewhere between a 3 and a 4-star, but I still have 50% of the book to go, so we'll see if it changes my mind. I do like our male main character. He is battling against a large family, and it seems like he has a different personality than most of his siblings. Now that I can understand and that I can relate to. For the next hour, I'm gonna try to read as much as I can. Tomorrow I will work 8 to 5 and then it's the 4th of July holiday and I have a pretty busy weekend ahead, so I'm going to try to finish this book tonight or tomorrow if I can. Our female main character is a childhood actor or actress. I don't know how many times I've probably said that, but the conflict is sort of starting to happen and she's faking. She said, well, I was a childhood actor. Don't hurt this precious man. Please don't hurt him. What else say? Love a good rain scene. Love a good rain scene. It's now Thursday, 11:56. I took a little bit of an early lunch today and I finished It's a Love Story by Annabel Monaghan. I read it on my Kindle and I finished it with a rating of a 3-star. A 3-star rating. So both books that my cats chose this week were a 3-star rating. This was Louie's pick for the week. I really love the found family element of the story. I do hate how that storyline and that dynamic played out. I wish it wasn't so abrupt. If you read it and you know what I'm talking about. There were so many beautiful and heartwarming lines that I think Annabel Monaghan really knows how to accomplish in a story. I want to read you a quote that really resonated with me. My Kindle is crashing. This was from Dan's mother, so part of the family that our main character Jane gets to interact with over the course of the book. Reenie rolls her eyes. Well, yes, she says, that's the romance of it. At breakfast, everything is just as it is, in the light of day. No one wears lipstick to breakfast. And this is where you talk about your day and the part of the roof that might leak this fall. You bring your real self to breakfast. Something about that line really just was so heartwarming to me. It made me think of, you know, breakfast in college with your roommates when you seriously just roll out of bed with the nastiest bedhead, where with my partner now, you really do bring your real self to breakfast. And that's something I never stopped and thought of, but seeing it in words made me really appreciate it. I do think that Jane's journey navigating her familial past and just her childhood past really showed an element to the story and a lot of emotional depth. And Dan quietly stole my heart by the end of the story. I just wish we got to see a little bit more of Dan's ending. And the reason why I gave it a 3-star is just the third act conflict didn't really work for me, which was a theme in both of these summer romances that I read this week. I do think overall it was sweet and thoughtful, and I appreciate Annabel Monaghan's writing, but it does seem to be that her books on average are going to be a 3-star rating for me. Very cozy way to wrap up the week though. What do you think about a repeat author giving it a 3-star? Is a 3-star rating good for you? Does a 3-star rating mean that you're gonna pick up more of that author's books? I know for a fact I'll pick up Ali Hazelwood's books again, but Annabel Monaghan's, maybe if I need a little bit of some fluff as well as some, you know, filler in between some other books during the summer. I just haven't decided if I would continue reading her books or not, but I want to hear your thoughts. Did you read these 2 books and did you rate them a lot higher, a lot lower? What are you thinking? Shout out to my cats this week. One of them is right there, Louie and Stevie, for picking out my summer reads, and thank you for hanging out with me this week as well. Bye for now.